Alright, so y'all clicked on this video because you're here for one thing. And that's to get your cowboy boots from looking like this to this. Cut it and add it later. If I don't, this is going to be very embarrassing if I forgot to record, so... Hey, Chad from the future here. I am recording this because I had a huge oversight in this video. I forgot to mention that this kind of tutorial on how I clean my cowboy boots, I forgot to mention that this is for full grain leather or smooth leather boots like this. Not suede, not nubuck, not reptile exotic leather. If you put the Big 4, the wax polish, all that stuff on a suede boot, it's going to ruin it. It's going to make it, it's not going to be good. So I just had to add this in because I feel like I just couldn't not put it in. Alright, back to the video. So it's been raining a lot here in Texas, and I've been wearing my rubber sole boots a lot, and they've been getting muddy and water and just all kinds of, you know, just business. They've been getting worn. So as you can see, they're not the cleanest right now, and they look like a work boot. Really, that's what it is. It looks like a work boot. If your boots get like this, don't worry. There are multiple ways that you can get them looking nice and new again. So cleaning your boots not only makes them look nicer, but it also makes them last longer. The more you take care of your boots, the longer they're going to last. There are multiple different steps when it comes to cleaning cowboy boots, and there are certain steps that you can skip depending on how much wear you've had on the boots. And with this boot, I'm going to brush it off, get all the loose dirt, which would be, you know, step one. And if it's really dirty, which it is, I'm going to use some saddle soap. And saddle soap basically is what it sounds like. It's essentially soap for the leather. And it gets rid of the dirt, the grime, and all that junk that's real in there, that's really deep in the grain. Scrub that in with water and then wipe it off, wait for it to dry. And then you got to condition it too, because while the soap is great, the saddle soap is fantastic, it will dry out your leather if you're not careful. So I use a Big 4 leather conditioner, and this kind of hydrates it and conditions the leather and just makes it have that original sheen that it had whenever you first bought the boot. This next step is optional too, because some people swear by just having a conditioner and then buffing it out. I like to use a polish. I usually use a wax polish. With these, I have a clear wax polish. A clear polish is mainly to protect it and have that sheen on it. And there are also many other different types of products. This is a boot cream, which does something similar to a wax polish. But I got this one for a different pair of boots because I couldn't find the right wax polish. So this works and it fixed my boots. If you have a leather sole, some edge dressing would go a long way of making them just look that much nicer. But we're not doing that for these boots. Also, mink oil is pretty good too. But for what we're doing today, all we're going to be using is some saddle soap, some Big 4 leather conditioner, some wax polish. This is clear in this case. Something to apply the Big 4, a brush to brush in the saddle soap, some water for the saddle soap, some paper towels to wipe off any excess, and a towel to make sure that I don't get this table all messed up. I think my girlfriend would get a little mad if I gunked up her nice little coffee table. Alright, for the first step, I'm just going to brush the boot, get all this excess dirt off. And you want to do this while it's dry, so you're not rubbing it into the boot, and it's harder to get off when it's wet, from my experience. Yeah, this is an old boot. You can definitely see some gashes in there. But this has held up pretty darn well. I think these were the first boots I ever did a review on. And I'm going to do the same thing with this boot, but I'm going to skip forward because it's just the same thing. Now that I've brushed them off, time to use some saddle soap. So the way that I learned to apply saddle soap, get it nice and wet, apply it to your brush there, and you really want to scrub in this. God, I'm making a mess already. I better clean up pretty good after this. So again, this is getting deep in the grain of the boot, really getting all that dirt out. As you can see, I use a little too much. A little too much. But there's a lot of junk that I'm getting off. Look at that. So whenever you apply this, it's going to make the leather darker because it's making it wet. So that's only temporary. And you're going to have to wait a little bit for your boots to dry before you condition them, because those are going to make them a little wet too. And you don't want to soak your boots. Alright, and you're going to want to let the boot dry. So, I am going to do the exact same thing, a little less of the saddle soap. Alright. So I finished applying and wiping off the saddle soap. Now, I'm going to let them dry. Okay, now that these are a little more dry, it is time to apply the conditioner. So, as I said earlier, I use a Bic 4 leather conditioner. So with this, got to shake it a lot, and you could either apply it directly to the boot, or you can apply it to a rag and wipe it down there. It doesn't matter. And you want to get this good in there. You want to really rub this in. And you want to use a good amount of this stuff too. Hope y'all can see this decent. Alright, and again, you're going to want to wait and let these dry a bit. After letting these boots dry for a little bit, I've noticed that there's some scuffs that are still present. So I'm going to use a little bit of this tan boot cream. I am going to rub it in the places that are pretty bad. So now, I'm going to do the wax polish. So what you do, get a good amount on the rag there. And apply it. And you want to get it all over the boot. And use a liberal amount. So again, this part is optional. And you can supplement it with a cream polish or something else. I personally like to use wax polishes. Now with this clear one, if you use a lot, which I am, you would have some residue that would appear somewhat white-ish. And sometimes that can look pretty bad. Just got to use your best judgment when selecting a cream or a wax. Get the correct color. If you can't, clear is the way to go, but definitely a colored cream would do wonders, especially if you have gashes or scrapes or scuffs that the conditioner didn't get out. That's why I use a little bit of the cream polish to get a little bit of color back in there. I didn't use much. So I'm going to use this rag, which has seen better days, and you can use an old sock which is what I've been using, but I couldn't find it. So I am going to just work with this and give it a good buff. And you can use a brush. A lot of people use brushes. I like to use rags and buff it this way. And the way that I was taught is you always brush into the boot. Just keep on buffing until it has that good sheen to it. I'm gonna go get a new sock. And the longer you buff it, the nicer it's gonna look. So this is with the wax polish. As you can see, it's really good except for this little bit right here. Right here, definitely could have used more of a, probably a tan polish to actually cover up, because this boot is really old and has been through a lot. As you can see, you got these deep gashes here, here. It's just a really worn boot. But this looks much nicer than it did before. It looks a lot less like a work boot now, except for the gashes. Alright, so there you have it. That's a way to take care of your boot, clean it up, condition it, and make it look nicer and make it last longer. So I hope that helped y'all, and if y'all like the video, just let me know down in the comments below. And if y'all do it a different way, let me know. If I did something wrong, let me know. And I'll be looking forward to talking with y'all in the comments. I had that fan on the whole time, didn't I?